Today, I chat with someone who spends most of their time behind the camera. He is the person who allows us to catch a glimpse of some of the best players in the NBA as they work to perfect their craft as the lead content creator for Pure Sweat Basketball. Sam Limon has a crazy story, and I highly recommend you look deeper into it. But to summarize, in a few short weeks, he went from being on the brink of achieving a personal childhood dream of playing Division One soccer to having soccer taken away from him, school taken away from him, being forced to move back home, and ended up taking the job as a janitor cleaning public restrooms. Now, he is the man Drew Hanlen trusts to produce content and has built relationships with some of the best basketball players in the world. In this conversation, we discuss how negative emotion has fueled him in the past, golf, and what the death of Kobe Bryant meant to him. Here is a conversation with Sam Limon. I am now joined with the man who brings the unseen hours of Pure Sweat Basketball to all of us, Sam Limon. Sam, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm just glad that you're able to take some time. Obviously, the NBA offseason is officially about to start, but also stop rather quickly. So you obviously have a hectic few weeks ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of surreal that they're making the guys come back so soon, but yeah, I understand the NBA is kind of like trying to get as much money as they can and profit, and I know everybody's losing money is not as well as just the NBA, but just everybody in general, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's understandable, but I feel for the players,
Mhm.
but it is what it is.
I think the first thing I wanted to ask you about is, as I talked to Drew a little bit about this,
Yeah.
what role has golf played in your quarantine or this time off from content production? How have you used golf as an outlet?
Um, it's funny because like I wouldn't say me and Drew are like identically similar, but like when you have a challenge in front of you, you're easily more motivated to kind of try to get better at something,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's something that Drew inspires a lot of people to do is to go out there and try to be good at something, and even if it's a new thing or if it's a hidden passion or something you want to do for a long time. But golf is very hard and it's a challenge in
Yes.
itself. So I would have guessed that Drew loves challenges and I love challenges, and I kind of followed suit because I saw him picking it up. I was like, you know what, like I used to golf with my dad back in the day, like when I was
Mhm.
7 or 10, and like I hated it. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
what I was doing. No kid knows what they're doing at a young age with golf. Um, but yeah, it's been really fun. It's very mentally challenging, and it's brought me a sense of peace.
Mm.
Just being on the golf course by myself, walking it sometimes, although like walking an 18 hole course is pretty tough. It's taxing.
Yeah, yeah.
But to me, it's brought a lot of peace, I would
Mm.
say, more than anything. I think Drew is very competitive and he wants to get really great at it.
Yeah.
And I mean, shit, I'm shooting under 100 pretty consistently
Hey,
now. Like,
that's better than
not,
average.
yeah, I'm not bad, but like I'll have one bad shot every hole that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
may kill me for the next two holes, but I'll get bogeys and I won't do too terrible, but I'm not really concerned about getting really, really good.
Mm.
It's bringing me peace. And especially during this time, like I need to get away from the house. Like I need to get away from people. Like
Mhm.
that to me has brought me a sense of kind of purpose of, hey, if we go into another lockdown, I'll be okay. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
golf as my outlet. So I think that's important to me is, I'm very competitive, but when it comes to something that I know I'm not going to be a professional golfer one day,
Yeah, yeah.
um, I think it's the special people that think that they can do that.
Mhm.
I would assume Drew, if he really put all his heart into, I think that's what makes
Yeah.
that he would really, try to go for that. But for me, it's all about peace.
I actually like I used to play like competitive golf
Yeah.
back in like my junior days, but now I'm the same way. Like I oftentimes I don't keep score. I go at night, I go by myself, I'll put some music on in the background. It's like my almost like a form of meditation to me. So I
Right.
100% understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and you know how us creatives, like, we like to be in our quiet thoughts, and it just means more to me having that outlet, especially
Mm.
during, COVID.
Yeah,
You don't get to be alone. I mean, you do get to be alone, but people went back home, people were with their family, people need outlets still,
yeah, yeah. I think you have a really interesting story, and if you were just to look from the outside in, it would appear that you were an overnight success. You were in the right place at the right time, and you met the right person. But I've listened to a couple of podcasts with you, and you definitely weren't. What would you say? Um, I talk about. I asked you about the illusion of the overnight success. How do you resonate with kind of that phrase?
um I mean, it's definitely something that I think about, whether my life was I like to associate luck into my path.
Mhm.
um I believe that the luck plays a huge part into your success as well. I think you have to put in the work, right? And if you put in the work for a long time, it could be years,
Mhm.
right? And that's what people are so afraid of, is if they work, they're not going to get paid really fast
Yeah, yeah,
or too soon. And people have all these, ideas and thoughts come in their head, like, okay, well, if I start doing this, like, I better get paid. And that might be your passion, like, editing videos or taking photography. Like, you might not get paid starting your first week on the job. Like, it's something that, if you look in today's world, there's over 50 million content creators now. And that, to
yeah.
me, I used to say 4 years ago that I was a content creator, and people would look at me like I was crazy, right? And
Mhm.
I don't have too many followers, but now it's just taking off to, like, even having 10,000 followers is nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just mainstream. And it's
Mm.
crazy to see that the transformation of this type of success that people are having. And I've just always had a reluctance to kind of, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but to really associate my life as just an overnight success. But it takes a lot of time to get to it. And I think that's what scares people. And when people have so many thoughts, so many ideas that they want to do this, they want to do that, it's scary to go out and say, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do in my life, which is my dream job, but I might not get paid till a year and a half later.
Yeah, yeah.
That's scary. And I think that's, if you look at me, like, oh yeah, like, I was a janitor 8 years ago. Now I'm living my dream life. Like, it was extremely hard. Like, I suffered a lot. Like, I did not get paid for 2.5 years. I was a janitor before that for 2 years. You have to go through suffering. And I think that's what's scary for people, is to go through that type of suffering to, inevitably, follow their dreams and complete their dreams. But yeah, I hope I somewhat answer that question, because I never look at myself as an overnight success, because I'm
Mhm.
so reminded by all the pain that I went through. And I think that's what kind of keeps me going, is remembering that pain. And a lot of people don't want to go through that, because it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like, I believe me, people were asking me, why was I a janitor? Why did I want to, like, continue being a janitor? Well, I was comfortable. I didn't
Mhm.
want to go look for another job. And yeah, I was a janitor. I was cleaning women's toilets every day, but I was comfortable. I didn't want to go through the process of applying for a job, getting a new boss, getting new coworkers. That shit is comfortable. I don't care. Like, I will deal with cleaning women's restrooms, even though it's degrading, but part of me doesn't want to look for another job. Like, I'm getting paid money. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's, you can translate that to now, like, 9 to 5 p.m. job. It's comfortable. It's hard, you know. But I hope I answered that question. I know I
Yeah.
went different routes,
No, that's no. What you said, I think in that the interview that I was to, you did your first like kind of Kobe mix at what age, 12, 13?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Kobe played a huge part of my life. I call myself the ultimate Kobe fan, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and everybody's still going through that this year too. And it's
Mm.
very hard, for people. He had so much. passion in him and the mentality aspect too. But yeah, I started editing videos based on the influence of Kobe, and Kobe was my favorite player, and I saw every game possible when I was younger watching him, especially during like the Smush Parker days, the
Yeah,
Brian
yeah,
Cook.
yeah.
Like I saw him lose a lot. I saw him go through a lot off the court. I felt for him and his family. I felt for him personally, what he went through. I think that's what a lot of people can relate, that sense of, oh, the comeback kid, or what he went through. And I think that's why he has such a big influence on kids who wanted to chase after their dreams. But yeah, I started creating videos at the age of 12 when YouTube first came out. And I developed this kind of funny cult following on YouTube. I had like 2,000 subscribers, and from age of 12 to like 20, I made like 13 videos, like episodic storytelling driven videos of Kobe winning his championship, redemption, and him losing at times, and him coming back from an Achilles injury. So Lakers Nation is huge like platform in LA, like
Yeah.
all LakersGround.net and stuff like that. And they would always retweet my videos and stuff like that. So everybody knew me as like the Kobe video guy. And I was one of the first to ever like start putting those little mixtapes together, developing those storytelling driven videos, to now where everything's just so mainstream. You see that when you go on IG, but that's how I first started. So, losing Kobe, this year, it has been like, damn, that was my passion. That was I even knew him, so to speak, like 3 or 4 times being around him.
Yeah.
I didn't know him, but I was just starting to kind of talk to him here a little bit more and there and stuff like that. But it was just crazy how like your childhood hero developed, and he gave you your passion to you inevitably meeting him and being around him. That to me, I don't know if you could write a storybook ending, but I never would have thought that, I was doing what I was meant to be doing, and to doing it now is pretty surreal. But yeah.
And to do what you're doing and being acknowledged by that childhood hero.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that he signed my Mama Mentality book. It said, do epic things from Kobe. So that's something that I want to get a tattoo of that, script tattoo of that on my arm. Pending. I don't know when that's going to happen. But yeah, he has meant a lot to me, and those who are close to me they understand how much he meant to me. So
going through your story, and you've talked about a little bit of the pain that you dealt with, it's clear that you have to deal with negative emotion. And one thing that I think is incredible about your story is how much you reference back to some of the positive aspects of dealing with negative emotions, of dealing with doubt, of dealing with rejection. What role has negative emotion played in what you think negative emotion has played in your success?
Yeah, I mean, strange. I have to reference Kobe a lot because he gave me my passion, But in his documentary Muse, he always said, like, you have to tap into the darker emotions.
Using the darker emotions, the anger or resentment or frustration and sadness, and using that as a weapon, using that as a form of offense.
Darker emotions have always helped me. Now, although it could be a very negative light, if you think about it very internally, but it can also be very motivational, to a point where I'm an external person, right? I'm internal too. Like, I internalize a lot of things, but if people say something on the outside, that to me is external, saying that I can't do something, saying that I won't be able to do something or overcome something, or there's doubt with my high goals, my high language that I always had as a kid. I wanted to be a professional soccer player as a kid. And I had that high goal, and a lot of people laughed at me for it. My own teacher laughed at me for it. My best friends laughed at me for it. My dad even doubted whether I could even play Division I, because only the top 1% tier even make it Division I. So it's just tough. You hear all those things, but doubt has really carried me to this point in my career.
Yeah.
And I really use, and it's a dark emotion, man. You can get really lost in it because you can have a lot of hate in it. And that's something that I need to work on a lot the last 3 or 4 years. But, you know, I'm now 30 years old and I'm trying to find something that motivates me even further. I'm still trying to find that because, you know, I lost my idol, Kobe Bryant, and that kind of set me back because it's like, okay, you know, shit, like I got into it because I started storytelling of his journey.
Yeah.
So now I need to find out, like, what's my next chapter of, you know, what motivates me? Is it external? Is it internal? Am I going to go back to like feeling doubted whether I could do something again? But I think that's the challenge that I have now. And I think I created that challenge in my head, and I'm obsessing over it, and I'm going to figure it out. I feel like I feel like if you create certain challenges that you start obsessing over, it could almost help you in a weird way, or it could also like not help you. But to me, I've always felt like if I create these challenges in my head, I'm going to overcome it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've even this 15, 20 minutes, I'm extremely grateful for the fact that we got to connect, I guess, last January and stayed in touch at least a little bit. Being able to put each other in each other's paths. So I'm extremely grateful for that. The way I wanted to end, going back to your soccer days, is I asked you to put together a dream 5-a-side team of all-time players. Any can be you can add yourself to this 5-a-side team. I think if I had to put mine together off the top of my head, it'd be Steven Gerrard, Andres Iniesta, Kaká, Fernando Torres, and David Villa. Big Spanish national team fan back in the day.
You're right around where I used to watch that religiously when back in 2007, 2010. Yep. I fell off quite a bit. You know, I loved watching Ronaldinho play.
Yep. He was a tough one to leave out, but
yeah. I mean, people just associate him, you know, getting that beer belly, that beer gut when he went to Where did he go to? I think he went to, I forgot, after Barcelona, where he went to AC Milan, right? Yeah, but man, he was so good. Like the way he could flick the ball over people. But Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo, that man, I think he scored 50 goals in a season. It was crazy. Cristiano Ronaldo, and I love that whole Manchester United team.
Okay.
I think it was Patrice Evra. Evra back in the day. I liked Michael Carrick because I used to play like him.
Okay.
Like, I would just be like a passer and just playing the right way. Paul Scholes. But that whole Manchester United team, I was following it like religiously. And then Wayne Rooney, I mean, man. But I love Andres Iniesta too. Xavi from Barcelona. And then nowadays, I can't watch soccer nowadays because I feel like I failed in that because to me, it just, when I see that, like I was really good. I walked on Division I. I made Division I. Then I got a career-ending injury. I could go on about it. But that burn still is inside me. You know? But yeah, I would say Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and then that whole Manchester United team back in the late 2000s. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, I appreciate you taking the time. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Of course, bro. Thank you. And then shout out to your boy Max. He's a really good dude, and I'm glad you connected me with him too. And he's killing it too now. So
yeah, he's someone I'm gonna look to have a conversation with on here as well. So
yeah, nice.
All right, Sam. Have a great rest of the day. Good luck the next couple of weeks, and I look forward to the content you guys are gonna put out.
For sure, bro. Thank you.
All right.